If you think I'm here to play around with y'all, goddamn I'm not.
All right.
What black community? It's a black environment with black women and black children in it.
How dare you say that we are not interested in families in the black community?
Take control of your city.
These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy.
What did we do for white people to hate us so much?
Like, I'm genuinely asking, what did we ever do to deserve anti-blackness in every single community?
Can a nigga live? Can a nigga live? Please.
These blacks.
welcome to the show. You can hear them chanting love, respect, and peace. That's us, as if that's what, Black people we represent. We represent love, respect, and peace, right? Somehow that's not the general reputation of Black America. And I got to tell you, outside of this one particular chant, the people that are really outside of the Karmelo Anthony trial make Karmelo look worse. They make the boy look guilty. And no matter how many times you chant the words, people aren't just going to automatically believe you because you chant the words over and over emphatically. People aren't just going to automatically, be on your team because you keep saying these magic words. Everybody's seen a lot at this point. The internet has been hell on the Black image and reputation overall. Whether it's Instagram, whether it's TikTok, YouTube videos, even body cam was supposed to, protect Black people from the alleged police. And body cams actually are like 95-5 against Black people. Like the body cams tell a horrible story. You don't see a lot of love, respect, and peace on these body cams, but on a lot of the Black internet, you really don't notice a lot of the love, respect, and peace. I don't know what these niggas up here talking about. Did they just do some type of foreign Indian chant? What was that? Yee bullshit. See, they really want to be anything but Americans, all right? We don't make those type of ululations in America, all right? We don't do that type of shit. That's foreign Jawa desert noise you making over there. We don't make Jawa desert noises in America. But obviously, we all know the Karmelo Anthony trial is underway, and it's been a bad week for the boy. I got to tell you, it's not really been good. And the Karmelo Anthony supporters are online and obviously out in the real world attempting to put a huge spin on this whole thing, and it's not really working well, but we got to talk about it. And as I said before, it's the people supporting him kind of make him look more guilty than he probably is. Like, some of the people outside of the courthouse are just a little bit unhinged. And even online, people are becoming unhinged and attempting to stretch reality and try to come up with an explanation as to why this is not cold-blooded murder. At the very least, you could have hit him with a manslaughter, but this is really cold-blooded murder one right here. I don't even know if Texas does manslaughter or homicide like that. I don't think they differentiate between classes of homicide. You killed somebody, you might face the chair, all right? They make it really, really simple when you're doing the math over there in Texas, all right? They don't come up with all these different levels of homicide. It really isn't levels to this shit in Texas, all right? Either you done it or you didn't done it.
There is a decision that Judge John Roach is behind closed doors making right now that could have a major impact, not only on the outcome of this trial, but also on the public perception of it. The prosecution has used its strikes to remove 3 prospective jurors who are Black. They made up 100% of those who are qualified who are Black to serve on this jury. Now, the defense is protesting this vehemently, arguing that it violates legal rulings. As anyone who has followed this case knows, race has become a talking point even well before this trial because the defendant is Black and the victim was white. The prosecution argues that the circumstances surrounding this case, being a school fight in a school stadium, make it, quote, race neutral, meaning that race did not play a factor in the crime and the makeup of the jury doesn't have to legally reflect that. The judge is expected to make a ruling at any minute. In the meantime, here's a recap of what happened earlier today. Inside the Collin County Courthouse, the process of selecting the men and women who will fill these 12 seats in the courtroom of Judge John Roach continued behind closed doors. Karmelo Anthony appeared on a live camera feed sitting at a table with his attorneys wearing a dark suit and tie, while his attorney, along with prosecutors, continued the work of finding a jury that would give him a fair trial. When prosecutors asked prospective jurors if media coverage of the case has led them to form opinions, several admitted that it had, with one replying, "I don't know if it's going to affect me, but I can't tell you those thoughts are not inside my head." Another prospective juror, who identified as an educator in Frisco ISD, where both the defendant and victim attended separate high schools, said, "This is close enough to home that I'm not confident that I could be completely fair." Potential jurors were also asked if the age of the 19-year-old defendant, who was 17 when authorities say he fatally stabbed 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a track meet, would influence their judgment, as well as his race. One prospective juror, who prosecutors identified as African American, said he would have a hard time putting a brother in jail. Anthony's attorneys plan to argue that the defendant stabbed Metcalf, who was unarmed, in self-defense after an altercation. Prospective jurors were asked if they would hold it against Anthony if he didn't testify. One prospective juror said he would, saying, "Silence is deafening. It matters. It's difficult to ignore." But a question from Anthony's attorney, Mike Howard, drew the ire of several prospective jurors when he asked them, "How do you feel about the country's immigration policies?" A number of them refused to answer, saying it was irrelevant. And again, we are awaiting this decision by the judge on the defense motion to cancel these 3 strikes of black jurors from the prospective jury pool. The judge is going to make a decision on that. Tomorrow, when opening statements begin, we'll get our first look at the makeup of this jury. The prosecution and the defense both got 13 strikes out of a pool of more than 500 prospective jurors. That was whittled down to 250 today. But again, this is going to be a major decision. We're waiting, and we will bring it to you when we get it. Live in McKinney, JD Miles, CBS News, Texas.
Yeah. So you don't have any black jurors on the trial, on the jury rather, which that alone isn't a lock, but there is a lot of pressure on black people to kind of like, pull rank and circle the wagons anytime one of these racially charged events happens. People want to, you got to support the black team. That's basically the thinking behind it. You have to support your black team. But you're not going to get that. You're going to get 12 angry men, 12 angry white men, maybe. That would be hilarious, by the way. That's how you know you're cooked. If you get 12 angry white men, you are cooked, kid. I hate to point it out to you like that, but you are cooked. But nah, he's not going to get that. He's really not. He's going to get, bunch of Mexicans and white people, basically. It's Texas. That's pretty much what that's what the makeup is probably going to be. A bunch of Mexicans, bunch of white people, and maybe like somebody's Filipino auntie or something like that. But no black people on the jury. Black folk been taking a lot of L's lately. I got to tell you, it's not been a good ride for Team Black. I'm not going to talk about this too much today, but there was another major trial that happened just a week ago. The Rick Chow shooting in South Carolina. Apparently, some kid ran out the store. They thought he was stealing. They chased him down. One thing had led to another. Mr. Chow shot this teenage boy, Cyrus, and boy died. And Chow just got found not guilty by a jury. And now Karmelo Anthony is facing a jury of his own. And the idea of black fatigue really has come back up. It actually doesn't ever go away. Ever since we kind of coined that phrase and we all started talking about black fatigue collectively online, it hasn't really gone away. It's always been in the background. And now it's kind of popping up again with these trials, because the question is, does America still maintain the kind of collective Black History Month level of sympathy that we've all grown accustomed to? for black people, or is America moving past that reflexive, customary black sympathy? Because, you know, the concept of white guilt seems to be fading away. White guilt is on the decline, and white unity seems to be the next thing. And the problem is, if you're looking at things objectively, you know, the black folk do seem like they're pretty hostile. I got to tell you, I don't know what it is. I can't tell you exactly why. You know, we all have our theories, but I'm going to tell you that, you know, the black folk do seem pretty hostile, you know, especially toward the white people. And, you know, does that mean you now start to lose that automatic sympathy? Because you can't be hostile and sympathetic, right? You can't be aggressive and also a sympathetic figure. And that's what I'm kind of noticing with the people outside of the Carmelo Anthony trial, is a really hostile, aggressive posture and disposition. Like, you don't make the boy look like he was an innocent kid caught up in it. You make the boy look like one of your race warriors, and you're just trying to now, you know, defend somebody who took one for the team, you know? You are not striking a sympathetic picture, which is what you need around this whole thing if you want the boy off, right? You want everybody to feel sympathy for the kid, because that's what it would take to be like, nah, he really didn't mean it, you know? But from the people in the crowd, y'all like, nah, he's like the race warrior for the black people.
When the boys came up to him, he was not an aggressor. Karmelo was not an aggressor. He was minding his damn business when the boys came up to him.
We the crowd. We agree. Karmelo Anthony will walk free. We the crowd.
They silenced Karmelo and his family.
Anthony will walk free. We the crowd. We agree. Karmelo Anthony will walk free. We the crowd. We agree. Karmelo Anthony will walk free. We the crowd. We agree. Karmelo Anthony will walk free. We the crowd. We agree. Karmelo Anthony will walk free. Get my face on the camera. We kill crackers. Where I come from, we kill them. And if I ever see you outside of Texas, you will have a problem. Yup. I'm going to wrap you up in that flag and I'm going to set it on fire. I like the smell of burning flesh, don't you? Don't you? Don't you? See, the time of you having fear on us is over, cracker. It's over, cracker. We ain't scared of you. We gonna do some Nat Turner shit on you, motherfucker.
Like, they talk about the boy like he is one of the race warriors that they didn't let free. You know, they sent the race warrior out there to go race war. You make it look like he meant to do it, you know? We kill crackers. Well, he did too, apparently, right? Apparently that's just how you niggas are, huh?
Flesh, don't you? Don't you? Don't you? See, the time of you having fear on us is...
And I'm not sure, but I heard this is Jacob Blake's dad. You guys might remember Jacob Blake from not too long after the George Floyd incident. Jacob Blake was caught in a police shooting where his girlfriend called the cops because he was in there choking her out. By the time the cops got there, he was outside trying to leave and got into a little wrestling match with the police before they shot him in the back, and he's in a wheelchair. I guess they got some money out of that too, you know, spinning rims on a wheelchair and shit.
Over, cracker. It's over, cracker. We ain't scared of you. We gonna do some Nat Turner shit on you, motherfuckers. Get my face on the camera. We kill crackers. Where I come from, we kill them.
So it's just like yelling the same thing over and over again.
This is a This is a response that is told. This is a response they teach their young people to have. This is a response that the mothers, the black mothers in this community. This community does not teach its people to respect personal boundaries. It does not teach people to talk with respect. And that's why I should make that step. Because of your failure as black parents. Failures as black parents. Teaching the youth to kill. Failures in this community. Look at this. Look at this.
Mutual combat? Is that what you just said?
You are not helping that boy. These do not look like the supporters of an innocent boy caught up in a horrible moment. These look like the race warrior teammates of a kid caught up in a race war. You guys make him look like he meant to do it, and y'all do it again. I wonder if this is how Tulsa, Oklahoma started. All right, you know what? I didn't even say that. I didn't say that. You didn't hear that from me. You didn't hear that from me. I just, I be having questions about the nature of history and niggas past, What if niggas yesterday were just like niggas today? And what if niggas tomorrow are exactly like niggas today? I wonder if this is just really how it went down, and the niggas before now.
Mutual combat. Seriously? Jake, I mean, whatever you feel about Jake, love him or hate him, right? He's out there trying to prove a point, and he's out there trying to have, civil discourse. He's not out there trying to fight anybody or cause any violence. He's trying to say what he wants to say, and in America, we have that right.
And it really doesn't take that much to get black people, right on the edge of, hostile violence. It's like the chimp out is always in you. You are all can you imagine always being on the edge of a chimp out? Imagine yourself standing on a cliff, and below you or underneath that cliff is just, infinite chimps, and you're always at risk of falling off the cliff into infinite chimps, right? Could you imagine living like that?
And of course, the response that he's getting is extreme vitriol and even calls for violence from a lot of these, black people on the other side. This guy's calling for mutual combat. So instead of having a civilized conversation about the case and the problem at hand, this guy's like, nah, let's just fight about it.
This would be a great opportunity, as a black, I happen to know a little bit about that kind of thing, you know what I mean? But as a black,
these blacks.
This would have been a great opportunity to calmly and intelligently expose all of the reasons why Karmelo Anthony, in fact, is not guilty, and all he did was act in defense of his own life and livelihood, right? You could now take this moment as a black to eloquently explain how this young man is being persecuted by a justice system that does not understand how to effectively prosecute the law, right? You could go on, you could Johnny Cochran the hell out of this thing right now, right? This would be the time as a black to get out there and show them all that you are not like this, and neither is Karmelo Anthony. You thought you was gonna get a nigga, but you got a strong black man today, right? This would be the time as a black to do all those things, right? But no, that's not what you get. Not in this trial.
If you think I'm here to play around with y'all, goddamn, I'm not.
All right. And of course, the response that he's getting is extreme vitriol and even calls for violence from a lot of these, black people on the other side. This guy's calling for mutual combat. So instead of having a civilized conversation about the case and the problem at hand, this guy's like, nah, let's just fight about it. That's exactly the kind of behavior that so many people with ghetto fatigue are talking about. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments section.
Ghetto fatigue. Haven't heard that one yet. Sounds familiar though.
Self-defense is not a crime. 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 Self-defense is not a crime.
You know, you might as well just say he fell on my knife. I think that's a better defense. You know, listen, man, that stupid clumsy kid, he fell right on my knife. God damn it. It was the darndest thing.
Self-defense is not a crime. 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 Cracker is a dead cracker. Only good 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 cracker.
That Karmelo was not in fact fighting for his life. If evidence does come out that Karmelo was not in fact fighting for his life when he stabbed and killed Austin Metcalf, do you think that the Black community will accept that?
If evidence shows that he did not, no, we're going to stand by ours regardless. They stand by theirs. We're going to stand by ours regardless. I'm a mother first. I'm a Black mother. Let me put that on there. I'm an African-American mother. So I have to put away my color first and step into the motherhood. Nobody wants to see their child slain. So I do want to send prayers to Austin Metcalf, their family. But at the end of the day, I got to think like, okay, what did you do to him or whatever to cause this to happen, the reaction? We got to start taking accountability for our kids. Because then again, if my kid, that's why I said catch-22, if my kid was Karmelo and I feel like his back was up against the wall, well, I'm going to tell you straight up, better mine than yours. Better mine than yours. So either way it go, everybody loses. A Black boy allegedly murdered, and I say allegedly, heavy on the allegedly murdered somebody. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, this is about race. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, they wouldn't give a damn.
You know, we're in an interesting moment when people are using internet censorship in the real world, right? Dropping the M from the word murdered because you don't want to be like censored or whatever. Notice what she's holding in her hand at the protest, by the way. Notice what she brought to the protest. So she got her big gulp. You know, everybody knows the big giant gas station, oversized 40 gallons of soda cup, right? And she got the dome lid on it, so she probably had a little frosty drink in there. And she got her little wine shot right there, too. Holding her cigarette lighter in her hand, so you know she's a smoker. Probably got Black and Miles and an eighth of weed in her pocket right now. Ain't got no pocketbook. She's just out there thugging it. It's crazy.
Allegedly murdered, and I say allegedly, heavy on the allegedly murdered somebody. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, this is about race. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, they wouldn't give a damn.
Who wouldn't give a damn?
The let me say this. Let's say the community.
So like if Karmelo Anthony was the one stabbed and killed by Austin Metcalf,
they wouldn't give a damn.
I come out here every Thursday and we pray for people going to court because we know this is the final frontier of racism and it's legalized here.
It was announced yesterday that there's no Black jurors.
Final frontier. This nigga said we done found the final frontier of racism. Think about this. Black people's final frontier is racism, but whitey's on the moon. I can't get over this shit. Like it'll never stop to be. It'll never stop being funny to me that niggas' final frontier is racism, but Whitey's on the moon. Like, bruh, this is amazing to think about. This really is amazing. He didn't hit the final frontier, y'all. Space, the final frontier. Meanwhile, he like, nah, nigga, racism. Racism, the final frontier.
Every Thursday, and we pray for people going to court because we know this is the final frontier of racism, and it's legalized here.
It was announced yesterday that there's no black jurors that were chosen. What are your thoughts on that?
That's why we need God. That's why we need God, and that's why he's going to show who's in control.
And would you be open to giving us your personal insights into the Karmelo Anthony trial and what your thoughts are on it?
I just want justice done. You know, we know.
What would justice be in this moment? Like, what do you think justice means? Like, what does justice mean to you, man?
Nobody go to a track meet to murder anybody, okay? Come on. That's an accident, self-defense. That's what it was. I'm not saying the kids should get off free, but first-degree murder? Come on.
All right, that's more reasonable than I expected. All right, there is an acknowledgement that he did something wrong, right? If you want him to get punished, then that means you know he did something wrong.
Basically, he's facing the wrong charge for the crime that was committed.
Do you think Karmelo is innocent? Do you feel like it's been an unfair response to what happened to Karmelo Anthony?
I feel that the justice system always over-respond when it comes to us. So definitely, I mean, you look at the charge.
That is objectively untrue, though. Like, we have actually corrupted basically the justice system. What do you think no bail is about? This cashless bail thing where they just let people out. They were doing that because poor black and quote brown people, they couldn't pay bail, so they had to sit in jail, right? And now you're getting people like pushed on train tracks and set on fire on the train platform and all this craziness, right?
It was self-defense. He was wrestling with two guys. I don't know what the parameters of it, but it was two people. So, you know, 2 against 1, that's self-defense.
Now, the narrative that a lot of people want to run with is that Karmelo was under the tracks just being black in America, and then a group of white people led by these twin brothers, these big, giant, young white boys, they accosted him violently. Like the 2 twin brothers at least were beating him, and he was in fear of his life, and he suddenly remembered that he had a knife on him, and he just lunged out with the knife one time to save himself. Like, I'm black, don't hurt me, hi, and he stabbed the kid, and he died somehow, and it was a horrible accident, and free Karmelo, right? That's the narrative that a lot of people are running with. I don't know if that's the narrative that we're getting in court lately.
Fox, it's great to be with you on this Friday evening here. We're going to stay in Texas for our next story as the courtroom on the second day of testimony in the Karmelo Anthony trial has adjourned. The former Frisco Independent School District student is accused of fatally stabbing another student at a high school track meet. Karmelo Anthony faces a murder charge in the death of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. Police say Anthony and Metcalf got into an argument over seating in the stadium stands on April 2nd, 2025, which escalated when Anthony stabbed Metcalf in the chest with a pocket knife. Here to break it all down for us, day 2 in the courtroom, Fox 4's Amelia Jones. Amelia, what can you tell us?
Hi there, Alex. The prosecution called multiple students to testify during the afternoon session of court. Those students were there at the track meet that day. They were either under the Memorial High School tent or nearby. Now, many of these students are minors, so this was really difficult for them to describe and recall relive what happened. Many of the students also interviewed with police detectives for the initial investigation, and the defense brought those police transcripts of those interviews up multiple times during cross-examination. Friday afternoon's testimony consisted of students recalling what they saw and heard at the track meet last April. Most of the students are minors under the age of 17, so their names cannot be shared. Much of the teenagers' testimony was consistent. A few described seeing Anthony, a Centennial student, say hi to a student under the memorial tent and sit by him. They testified that 17-year-old Austin Metcalf verbally told Karmelo Anthony, 17 at the time, to leave the memorial tent multiple times. They also testified that Anthony did not move and kept his hand inside his backpack. Multiple witnesses told the court they heard Anthony say, "Touch me and see what happens." The description of the physical altercation between Metcalf and Anthony differed between witnesses. Some witnesses demonstrated to the jury they saw Metcalf use one hand. Others testified they saw Metcalf use both hands when he touched Anthony. Some used lighter terms such as nudge and touch. Others used grab and shove to describe the force behind the physical confrontation.
It's not unreasonable that these teenagers would have differing views. They were probably all in fight or flight and having trouble, processing what happened at that time.
Allison Richardson is a principal trial consultant, not involved in the case. She says the jurors are going to consider what a reasonable person would do in the situation. But the testimony from the students is something the prosecution could bring up again in closing arguments.
There's no doubt in my mind the prosecution will address this testimony because it's vital in considering whether or not he acted in self-defense or not.
In cross-examination of the witnesses, Anthony's defense team asked the teenagers to indicate their location on a diagram of the bleachers at Kirkendall Stadium, then indicate where Metcalf and Anthony were. The defense honed in on the physical comparison between Metcalf and Anthony. One witness testified Metcalf had, quote, 50 to 60 pounds on Anthony.
But we don't know the other side of the story yet. And what these jurors have agreed to do is to listen to both sides of the story. And so we may see some surprises in that testimony next when the defense opens, and we may not.
Friday morning, the jury watched multiple police body camera videos. Frisco ISD school resource officer Eduardo Cortez took the stand and testified he was the one who took Anthony into custody. The jury watched his body camera video that showed Cortez radio to dispatch that he had, quote, the alleged suspect in custody. Then you hear Anthony on the video tell Cortez, "I'm not alleged, I did it."
Now, we're not really here to determine whether or not he did or didn't do something. We're here to determine whether or not what he did can be justified as an act of self-defense, right? And the real question here hinges, I guess, on whether or not the Metcalf kid pushing him or touching him in whatever manner that they all testified to constitutes a life-threatening act that I can now use a knife and stab you in the chest with to defend myself.
Anthony appeared to get emotional in the body camera video and goes on to say, "He put his hands on me. I told him not to." The jury was also shown pictures of the knife used in the stabbing. It was found 3 to 4 rows from the crime scene tape in between some bleachers. But the most gut-wrenching moment was when the jury saw another police officer's body camera video that captured first responders doing CPR on Metcalf at the bottom of the bleachers. Calf's twin brother, Hunter, is seen sobbing on the ground of the track field. He's heard on one of the body camera videos yelling, "That's my best friend, that's my brother." A very difficult and emotional moment for those in the court, especially Metcalf's family. The prosecution ended each testimony of the students with a similar set of questions. Did the witness believe the stabbing was self-defense? Did Austin Metcalf look like he wanted to fight? And who was the aggressor? From my notes in court today, the witnesses were consistent in their answers. They testified that they did not believe the stabbing was self-defense. They did not believe Metcalf wanted to fight, and they identified Anthony as the aggressor.
Ooh, shit.
How do it equivalate?
When I tell you the boy not looking good in that court, listen. For those of y'all in the back, for the free Karmelo people in the chat, I want you to hear this part again.
There's body camera video that captured first responders doing CPR on Metcalf at the bottom of the bleachers. Cav's twin brother, Hunter, is seen sobbing on the ground of the track field. He's heard on one of the body camera videos yelling, "That's my best friend, that's my brother." A very difficult and emotional moment for those in the court, especially Metcalf's family. The prosecution ended each testimony of the students with a similar set of questions. Did the witness believe the stabbing was self-defense? Did Austin Metcalf look like he wanted to fight? And who was the aggressor? From my notes in court today, the witnesses were consistent in their answers. They testified that they did not believe the stabbing was self-defense. They did not believe Metcalf wanted to fight, and they identified Anthony as the aggressor. Court will resume tomorrow. Testimony is set to begin at 9 a.m.
Are they in court right now on Saturday, I wonder? Because that was on Friday. Anyway, if you are seen or at this point testified against as being the aggressor in a particular situation, all of your claims of self-defense now go out of the window. And here's the irony, right? You can be the aggressor in a situation where obviously Metcalf walked across whatever distance there was to approach Anthony, right? So yeah, the Metcalf kid approached Karmelo Anthony, but in that moment, these children on the stand, the witnesses on the stand are saying that it was actually Anthony behaving in the aggressive manner.
Back to you.
Amelia Jones with Fox 4 Dallas. We appreciate your reporting as always. In this case, there are no cameras in the courtroom, so these reporters have really served as the eyes and the ears in this case. At this point here on Live Now from Fox, we do want to bring on some expert voices into this. Let's bring on defense attorney Jeremy Rosenthal to discuss what happened in the courtroom today. Hey, Jeremy, thanks for joining us here on Live Now.
Thank you for having me.
So we know that today Metcalf's teammates testified in the courtroom. How did they describe the moments leading up to the stabbing?
You heard a really consistent story. I think we heard from roughly 6 witnesses who were there under the tent. And functionally, Karmelo Anthony comes underneath the tent. It was there was a lot of rain that day. And so there had been a delay. Karmelo Anthony comes and takes a seat. He greets a friend, is sitting with a friend, by all accounts, not doing anything, not bothering anybody. And he was asked to leave multiple times. It was not his team's tent. The coach had instructed the other team members, we're not going to let anybody else sit under here. And everybody's testimony was consistent that Austin Metcalf sort of took exception to it. There were varying accounts of how Austin Metcalf approached Karmelo Anthony. Karmelo Anthony was sitting down at all times. Nobody testified really any differently, at least until after the stabbing. And there was a lot of testimony that Karmelo Anthony had his hand in a bag and was essentially threatening and saying, if you touch me and you'll find out. And there was some discussion too about whether or not he had something in the bag. One witness testified that he thought that there might be something in the bag and told Austin Metcalf to leave Anthony alone. But most people said they didn't believe anything was in there. In fact, one person testified that Austin Metcalf said, "This is Briscoe, and so I know you're not carrying anything in there." Then the testimony again varied, just like the reporter said, varying accounts of how Austin Metcalf made contact with Karmelo Anthony. It was described as a push, as a shove, kind of a linebacker drill, if you will, where one player pushes the dummy, the tackle dummy, sort of up and out. So there were varying degrees of force from what it sounds like. But Austin Metcalf, everybody agreed, was standing. Karmelo Anthony was sitting, and then Karmelo Anthony reacted by stabbing Austin Metcalf.
And we've known that defense is trying to argue that Anthony was acting in self-defense. Describe to us the approach from the defense attorneys trying to argue this during cross-examination today.
I think the prosecution scored a lot of emotional victories today, but in doing so, they left themselves, I think, really vulnerable to a lot of legal attack. And you can see the defense sort of, they care about what they care about, and they don't care about what they don't care about. We saw a knife. We saw the knife that was recovered, and there's blood on the knife. But we're not debating how much blood was on the knife, because it doesn't really matter when you're talking about self-defense. So the defense was very particular in setting up, where was Austin Metcalf? Where was he standing? Where was he going? Was he standing? Was Karmelo Anthony sitting? They're trying to make the danger that Karmelo Anthony was facing real. That's their entire challenge here. At one point, they sort of demonstrated through a law enforcement school resource officer. What they did was they asked, can hands be a deadly weapon? Can hands cause serious bodily injury? Elevating the danger through just an assault. And the police officer had to agree with them. So they're able to sort of keep their trial theory intact. That's what you try to do in a case that's sort of where the facts are really so confined, where everybody sort of testifies about the same.
And Fox 4 Dallas did write that the defense team is seemingly trying to point out some inconsistencies between the testimony in the courtroom today and previous statements that some of the witnesses have given to police. But I do want to move on here to some other witness testimony that we have not touched on quite yet. Of course, Jeremy, there is no cameras in the courtroom, so the folks sitting in the courtroom for us are really the eyes and the ears in this case, what happens with these legal proceedings. Jeremy, jurors watched body camera video of Anthony's arrest. What stood out to you in that video, and as the officer who arrested Anthony testified?
The main debate when it came to the arrest video was Karmelo Anthony's emotional state. And that has a direct correlation because there's probably going to be a debate in this case between manslaughter, unintentional murder, or first-degree murder. So Karmelo Anthony's excitement, his state of mind, I think is really, really important. And what we saw on the video was that it really varied. At one point at the very beginning of the video with the officer, you can hear Karmelo Anthony almost sort of hysterically say, "He touched me." And so he was really kind of in a panic state. This would be maybe less than a minute after.
You know what's interesting though? For him to just blurt out, "He touched me." I mean, it's not like you're talking about some type of, 50-year-old sexual predator here. This is like a teenage boy and another teenage boy. And for him to say, "Oh, he touched me," it doesn't really give a great excuse for, I stabbed him in the chest, right? Like what? I mean, even if he like pushed you a little bit, you know how fights start between two young kids. I push you, you push me, I push you back, you try to punch me in the face. Like, at no point in that little escalation of violence is the idea of me stabbing you ever going to come into play. But somehow in Karmelo's mind, he touched me, I stabbed him. I should be able to go home from this. I should not have to go to jail for this. It's interesting, put it that way. Really interesting. I want to jump to something else here. I'm getting conflicting reports about this alleged videotape that they played in court because, yeah, there were cameras present on the field and parts of the incident were captured on camera, but nothing, I guess, definitive can really be seen from the video. But you let these niggas tell it because, you know, we're back outside the courtroom again and niggas are outside telling tales, y'all.
But those cameras, the one that they're showing is the one that's right to the right side of 50 yard.
Right.
So it's directly showing where Karmelo and them were.
Okay.
So you actually see them walking up. You see that Karmelo is already up under there. He's under there minding his business.
Dodging the rain, or
yeah, it was still rain. You know,
right.
I'm familiar with them. So that day we were under a tornado watch.
Right.
And we were under thunderstorm warning, and we know we had already had some light rain then, and it started raining again. Then it was over with for the day.
Okay.
So that's kind of what happened on that day. But they were at a rain delay already, and so during that time when that happened, the twins, their two buddies, and a few other kids, because there was a few kids involved with them. They were all coming from the direction of the middle school, coming walking back up.
Right.
On the video, you can see those four that actually was involved, and maybe about 3 or 4 others that was with them, skipping up, trying to catch up behind. One veered off probably toward his way to go to the coach and kind of distract him a little bit. And then the other 4 came walking together. One went in front of them, went past.
Right.
The other 4 went and they surrounded Karmelo. You know, if you're Karmelo.
And they showed it on that video.
It's on the video.
Okay, come on.
You can see them walk
I'm gonna
up.
say little
And
stuff.
I'll put it this way.
Okay.
They actually tell you when you're watching the video, pay attention to this corner right here, because if you look anywhere else, you might miss different things.
Okay.
So watch those 4. Here they're 4 right there coming up.
Right.
That's exactly what they say.
Okay.
And so you have no way to be confused that it's those 4.
Okay.
So they come up, they surround them, and this immediate moment of not even a few seconds of pause, then that's when they jump. And so
they actually did jump him.
Yeah, it wasn't just no touch. It wasn't just all that moment. Yeah, it was a push. It was all kind of things. But Austin pushed.
Now, notice, according to Karmelo's own testimony, well, not testimony, but his own statement to the cop that was caught on video, caught on body cam, right? Karmelo's own words on body cam was, not they attacked me, not they jumped me, not they did anything to me, but he touched me, right? Because if you out there in a crowd and a bunch of people are beating on you and you happen to get away and you telling somebody about it, you know how black people are. First thing you'll say, oh, them niggas try to jump me. Like it's easy. It's going to come out of your mouth so quick because that's how truth works, right? So when Karmelo said he touched me, I would take him at his word. That's all he did was touch him. You didn't get jumped by a bunch of people. You weren't accosted by a pack of roving Caucasians. He touched you. But let this nigga tell it. He was about to get lynched by a 14-year-old Klansman.
Hunter hit, and then everybody swung. But at the same time,
So it's more than the twins that got some licks
all
on
4.
them. So it showed that in the video.
Yes, in the video. So again, you got Hunter and Austin standing in the middle.
Okay.
And you have the light bright boy here, and you have the darker boy here.
Okay.
I think that's what I remember. So I have to go back and think about it. But that's where they were. One was going up and down while they were talking, kind of pushing or whatever he was doing. Austin and Hunter was in front. So where they're talking about grabbing bags, Hunter actually said that I grabbed his bag.
Right.
And then later on, he said that Austin threw the bag.
Okay.
Jeff also said the same thing. And so that's them both antagonizing. And we know under Texas law, I just have the fear that you're about to do something to me and you can get up out of here. Right. Yeah, so you don't have to touch me. But at that point, he still stood there and stopped there. And whatever they say alleged was said, you don't know that until they get into it here. But once they did that, they started hitting him. Karmelo actually was able to back out and try to get away. So he was actually trying to get away the first time. Austin grabbed him, and you can see his hoodie coming out like this, and they brought him back in.
Okay.
And when they brought him back in, that's when you can see Austin put him in a headlock. You can see that all the rest of them are still hitting. that must be when the poke happened, because he was able to get out again. He backed out. He looked to the right. That's where the other little kid was filming, but they got some cell phone footage too. But that's where he was filming. He looked directly at him in his camera, and then he went this way to the left. He went down. He fell, and that's when they realized he was gone. They were still punching. And when he fell, that's when they all turned around. They started chasing him. Austin tried to go chase him too, but he grabbed his chest. I guess he realized that something happened to him, and that's when he went down a little bit and he fell down. But all three of them were chasing. But Karmelo was so fast, he got away and went around to the coach. And so you can see them on the video pointing toward Karmelo and the coach. And I can imagine, because Karmelo out of the camera on that moment, that he was telling the coach what happened. And then that's when Hunter said he whipped his head around. That's a true statement. He just wasn't sitting with it. He whipped his head around. You see him on the video. And that's when he walked over to where Austin was, but he never touched him. So all that stuff about him rendering aid and holding his heart, and he never did that, because the coach grabbed him and he was holding him. So at the end of the day, that's kind of where the moment went. But they did assault him, and we'll just play the game. Even if it was just a push, you still assaulted him, because it was unwanted. By your own definition in your word of him saying that, leave me alone, and I'm not going, you assaulted him.
There's a lot of road between they assaulted him and it was just a push, because a push is a singular thing that only one person can do to another, right? They assaulted him is a group ass whooping, right? It's a good old fashioned passionate ass whooping, but just a push is like light years away from that.
Period. But they did beat him. And if you look at the, not the photo that Fox 4 put out, because that was one that they actually edited. I have the emails to prove it. But the actual Collin County one, you can see the webs and stuff on his eye. You can see the bridge of his nose is swollen. You can see the webs under his neck. And so that's the reason why they edited the one from Fox.
Are you trying to tell me there's physical, there's photo documentation of Karmelo Anthony having been beaten on by these white boys? Did the medical staff, was he taken into medical custody? Because, if you get beat up and the police see that you have injuries and whatever, even if you're going to jail, they got to give you to, a doctor. They got to get you some medical custody. They don't want you dying in the back of the squad car.
Put out, because that was one that they actually edited. I have the emails to prove it. But the actual Collin County one, you can see the webs and stuff on his eye. You can see the bridge of his nose is swollen. You can see the webs under his neck. And so that's the reason why they edited the one from Fox and kind of airbrushed it. And you can see they put the locks of his hair that got taken out.
And Jesse Lee, I think you are spot on, bro. The links that niggas go to lie is crazy. Like, this is something I've just learned over the years, arguing with different black people about different events and whatnot happening over years, especially like when George Floyd happened. Oh my God. George Floyd was a giant red pill moment for me in terms of like how much people will just blatantly lie. And, you just have to kind of make your peace with it. People will say all kinds of crazy shit. Now, let's see if we can get some more official news testimony that might corroborate any of these fantastical tales that the fat nigga was telling us.
I'm very familiar with track meets. I was under the impression that, when you go to a championship track meet, you have multiple tents on the same side of the bleachers. But in this video, because it's early in the morning, just before 10 a.m. when all this happened, the high school where all this went down, Memorial High School, it was just an isolated tent in the bleachers by itself. There were no surrounding, schools or anything in the general area. You saw some schools walking in, but I guess, the meet was just starting. But anyway, they identified Karmelo walking up the bleachers, kind of walking towards the tent. He kind of goes towards someone, and you see him standing there for a couple of minutes. Then you see Austin Metcalf, his twin brother, and his friends walking up and getting under the tent. And then once everything's happening under the tent, it just kind of looks like a blob of people. You can't really make out anything that's really going on for 5 to 6 minutes. And then you see a quick to and from, and they were implying that was like.
Now, this guy, he really didn't according to him, and he was like in the courtroom apparently, that video that they played, you really couldn't tell what was happening under the tent and all that. But The fat dude in the video right before this one, he was like, oh my God, it was so dramatic. You can see clearly. You can see the white in Karmelo's eyes. It was on the camera. Like, niggas really just be lying, bro. What the hell?
Push, the initial contact. You can't really see anything happening. Before then, you see people walking by. They're not really, turning heads as if something's loud and, something's catching their attention. But all of a sudden, you see that to and from, and then you see Karmelo, or who they identify as person of interest, who we're assuming to be Karmelo Anthony. He runs out from under the tent, and then he's running down the bleachers, sprinting a ways away from the tent and out of the stadium onto the track and everything towards one of his coaches. And eventually after that, we see another angle of the video where Karmelo's been taken into custody by police. But the reaction, Julia, it wasn't a visceral reaction. When you saw the to and from, of course, that's the stabbing action, if you will. All I saw, I'm sitting 2 rows behind Austin Metcalf's father, and his head was just kind of in his hands, kind of like this. Wasn't necessarily crying, but just implying that he doesn't really want to see, even though he can't see the stabbing, but he knows in his mind this is the moment that his son lost his life. So he was just there, obviously overwhelmed by everything. I'm sitting right behind the Metcalf family. Karmelo Anthony's family is on the opposite side of the courtroom. But again, the video, not as impactful as I thought, but it definitely is a scene setter to help us understand clearer as to what's going on, since we haven't seen.
Not as impactful as I had thought. Which, that was my initial worry about the video anyway, because, not every security camera is a completely high focus, zoomed in, high power camera lens. It's good for, covering a broad general area, but it's not going to be able to tell what happened over in a corner somewhere underneath the tent and all that. You might be asking for a lot from a random security camera. But having some video is always better than having no video. And apparently what little video we had, it couldn't really tell us motive and all that kind of stuff. It couldn't show you the intimate details of a stabbing.
Karmelo Anthony's family is on the opposite side of the courtroom. But again, the video, not as impactful as I thought, but it definitely is a scene setter to help us understand clearer as to what's going on, since we haven't seen anything so far in this case.
Incredible detail, Cody. You're setting.
So yeah, this is definitely the OJ trial of our generation. And I was thinking about that recently. I remember when I was young, I was in I guess 9th or 10th grade when the OJ trial happened. And it was our big racial moment. And I think that's what this generation is looking for right now. Another OJ style victory for the black race. And as much as, you might want that to happen, as much as you might want that to be true, this is not a good case for that. You're not gonna get that one out of this case. The scenario was too improbable, and the boy in question, Karmelo, it's hard to make him somehow the victim out of everything that's happened, everything that we know. It's hard to somehow extract victimhood from him out of this whole situation. But, the black team wants their victory.
Karmelo Anthony's defense is falling apart in the murder trial of Austin Metcalf. He might face life in prison if convicted. Prosecutors in court showed jurors surveillance footage they say tells a different story than the Karmelo Anthony defense. It reportedly shows a brief confrontation between Anthony and Metcalf. Not a larger group, not a beatdown, disparity of numbers, not a sustained beating, before Karmelo Anthony runs.
Not a larger group, not a beatdown, not a sustained beating. You weren't even fighting. That's the crazy part. If you think about it, this wasn't oh, he punched me, I punched him, we were in a scuffle, just bah, 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 boom, 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 and all of a sudden, damn, the knife came out of nowhere, and I just hit him, bah, 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 then I started running. You wasn't even in a scuffle, you wasn't even fighting. You just got scared and just, stab, stab, stab. Bro, this is not a good look for you. If you were in the middle of a fight, if you were actually, vigorously engaged in fisticuffs, You could have maybe got a manslaughter out of this one. You could have been like, listen, bro, he came over there, he put his hands on me. I'm not gonna let somebody just come up and touch me. So I pushed him. We start fighting. Next thing I know, listen, he got stabbed. I don't even know what happened. You could have manslaughtered your way out of that, but you didn't even want to fight. You just were like, stab, I'm scared, stab.
Karmelo Anthony's defense is falling apart in the murder trial of Austin Metcalf. He might face life in prison if convicted. Prosecutors in court showed jurors surveillance footage they say tells a different story than the Karmelo Anthony defense. It reportedly shows a brief confrontation between Anthony and Metcalf, not a larger group, not a beatdown, disparity of numbers, not a sustained beating, before Karmelo Anthony runs from the scene. Jurors heard emotional testimony from Metcalf's track coach. He said that Metcalf was helping lead setup efforts that day, which basically means he was in charge of setting up the tent and equipment. The coach testified and said athletes don't just go under other teams' tents. This is something that's understood between the athletes. This goes to the reasonableness of conduct.
This goes to the unreasonableness of niggas. Always demanding to be in a place where nobody knows you and nobody likes you and nobody wants you. The unreasonable nigga. That should be a whole theme. The unreasonable nigga. You know, that should be the book that you find on the shelf next to the delectable Negro. The unreasonable nigga. I want to take this moment to give a quick station break. Shout out to everybody in the audience. We got a lot of people in here. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. And please do support the show. Hit me up on Venmo at The Hoodservative. The address is crawling on the screen at the bottom. Thank you so much for watching.
Give me the money. Give me the money for all I would do. Give me the money.
The reasonableness of Austin Metcalf's conduct and asking Karmelo Anthony to leave the tent that was not his, and the lack of reasonableness of Karmelo Anthony refusing to do that. This article had some interest.
I feel like unreasonable nigga is going to be like some type of legal category going forward now. Mark my words. All right, this is going to become new legal territory. Your Honor, permission to treat the witness as an unreasonable nigga? Permission granted.
Content. So I wanted to cover some of that. It had some of the opening statement stuff. Prosecutor Bill Werski. We're all here because Karmelo Anthony decided to take a knife to a high school track meet and provoke another young man who he didn't know into touching him. Remember, if you provoke the confrontation, you lose the element of innocence. Get the book, people. The banner is right there. Law of Self-Defense. Free book. It's free. We ask that you cover the cost of shipping, but the book is free. The prosecutor's arguing that Karmelo Anthony provoked Austin Metcalf to touch him, to push him or grab him, and provoke another young man who he didn't know into touching him.
And you know, this thing about the provocative Negro behavior is something that you run into in public all the time. You know, the girl on the train or the bus, she's like talking loud with her speakerphone on, by the way, or the nigga that gets on the train with no shirt on, with like, you know, a big ass radio, starts doing workouts on the train, doing push-ups and pull-ups and shit in front of everybody, doing push-ups and pull-ups, or like the people, this is a New York City thing too, though. The people who get on the train, they start dancing and swinging from the poles, like some acrobatic monkeys and shit. And you know, because like you're there and it's like, boy, if you slip and hit me, I'm gonna have to stab one of you now. All right? I'm black rules. Now I gotta stab you. Just spamming R2 on the nigga. Because it's like you do all this shit, like daring somebody to have a problem with you, so then you can now be justified in your 0 to 100 response. Because why you bothering me? Why you mind your business, right? It's the provocative Negro. You're going out of your way to provoke a reaction from the people who would otherwise be minding their business, going about their white life. But no, you over here being provocative and shit.
So he could stab him? Kill him? This Karmelo Anthony decided to commit an unjustified, provoked murder The case has nothing to do with race. This is not self-defense. Karmelo Anthony had been at the tent belonging to Metcalf's school when the attack occurred. The prosecutor said that multiple people in the tent told Karmelo Anthony he wasn't allowed to be there. It wasn't just Austin Metcalf. There was a norm of behavior, and Karmelo Anthony was patently violating it.
Not only that, but as I understand it, the kids who testified against Karmelo Anthony today would have been those same kids that were under the tent on the day in question. So all the kids he's talking about that also were telling Karmelo to just get up and go somewhere else, this is our thing for our team and our school, half of those kids were black. Yeah, half the kids that testified against Karmelo were fellow blacks, okay? It was a gang of niggas.
These blacks.
Was told by multiple people he was violating it. Multiple people in the tent told Karmelo Anthony he wasn't allowed to be there and asked him to leave, which the defendant, Karmelo Anthony, allegedly responded, "Move me, make me." Austin Metcalf.
And see, it's in that little exchange where you now become an aggressor in the moment. Because now you're provoking. Knowing not only are you provoking, but you're provoking with the intent to match him with overwhelming force in the scenario, right? It could have easily been a gun in his backpack, right? Same thing. You know you're going to respond with what is basically lethal force now. So whatever he does to you after you invite him to do something, whatever he does, you have it in your mind, I'm going to stab the shit out of you. Like, you know, this is how niggas talk. This is how niggas think. Because I've talked this talk. I've felt that feeling on the train. I've been the nigga on the train like, bro, I'm going to stab the shit out of you. I swear to God. And you don't even say the words. This is the funny thing about it. This is why I can put myself in the mind of young Karmelo, because it's like, you know, I just know what this knife can do to you, and you have no idea that I have it, and I'm about to just do this thing, and you keep pushing me, right? Now, Karmelo is dead wrong in this scenario. You know, you're like kind of trespassing, so to speak, and people are kind of like, let's use the word politely. Like people aren't like just jumping on you, kicking you out. They're not just attacking you right off the bat, but they're like, hey, bro, like, what's up? Like, can you like not be here? They're using words on you. You know what I mean? And these kids are using words, and Karmelo's sitting there like, I'm going to stab the shit out of him. Fuck your words, nigga.
Trying to be a leader, stepped up again to ask Anthony to leave. And here's the key part. That's new reporting, new information to me. Karmelo Anthony taunted Austin Metcalf until Metcalf took the bait as a young man.
He took the bait. God damn it, he took the bait. Don't take the bait. Whatever you do, and see, this is like this. There's so many things to comment on here, but like, let me just describe a phenomenon I've noticed with white people and their public interactions with black people. White folk have been sort of like socially trained to not take the bait. Like, there was a whole scene in the Boondocks about that very thing where, like, when they talk about nigga moments, and there's this one clip on the Boondocks where the black guy and the white guy bump into each other, and the black guy's like, what you do to me? And the white guy stopped for a second. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm white. And he just chuckles and walks away. Like, white culture right now in America is like, they've adapted to not taking the nigga bait, which is also where black fatigue comes up. Because there's only so much like not taking the bait that you can go for without it starts to be a problem we recognize. Like, damn, every time I leave my house, every time I go downtown, there's some nigga out there daring me to take the bait. And so Austin, he's a teenager. He hasn't lived that much of life yet. He probably didn't get the talk from his dad. You know how, like, in Black America, there's this idea of the talk where, like, because the police are out there, like, just killing niggas allegedly, black parents have that conversation where, like, listen, Jamal, when you're out there being black on the basketball court and the police just come up and they bother you for no good reason, this is how you got to behave, right? That's the talk that black parents allegedly give their black kids. White parents have a different talk. The white talk is, listen, Austin, these niggas out here are going to provoke you into taking the bait. And whatever you do, don't take the bait, right? That's literally the white talk. This is a whole viral thing that happened like 10, 15 years ago. Some white guy lost his job for actually being honest about the talk. He's like, oh, you blacks have a talk? That's funny. We whites have a talk too. He wrote a whole article about it where he has to explain to his son, don't take the nigga bait. And again, like, Austin is 15, you know, comes from a broken home. I don't think his dad ever had the opportunity, nor he just never got around to telling Austin to not take the bait. And Austin took the bait. And he did. Because that's what happens when you take the bait. All right? Nigga bait is fatal.
Make me. Austin Metcalf, trying to be a leader, stepped up again to ask Anthony to leave. And here's the key part. That's new reporting, new information to me. Karmelo Anthony taunted Austin Metcalf until Metcalf took the bait as a young man and went to push Karmelo Anthony. And as soon as the stabbing happens, Karmelo Anthony takes off running fast.
You know what, Red Illusion? Yeah, Asian racism is way. Asians have purified racism. Like, they have got racism down to like 99.9% purity. Asians are like the Heisenberg of racism, y'all. We're going to talk about Asians on another level with that whole child thing in South Carolina. You know what? We might run this one a little bit longer today to talk about Asian racism too, because Asians have perfected racism and misogyny all at the same time. I have never seen a group of people beat their bitch and hate a nigga so thoroughly with both hands. Like, with one hand, they're beating their bitches, and with the other hand, they're hating on niggas, bro. The Asians are like double fisting racism and misogyny. Like, this shit is amazing when you think about it. You thought the whites were bad? Listen, you niggas are gonna miss the white man when he's gone, because you're gonna be nothing but Asians. Listen, once the white man is gone, Asians will be like 70% of the world's population. It'll be Asians, Arabs, and Mexicans, all right? That's going to be who's left in the world if the white man's gone. And you niggas are going to miss them. I promise you. You haven't seen racism until you get hit with some purified Asian racism, all right? They have no shame, no holds barred.
At first, and then slows down and tries to blend in and slip out the front gate. The prosecutor said Karmelo Anthony didn't realize he'd been stabbed immediately and lifted his shirt to reveal a gaping wound to the heart. People described it as a gaping hole in his chest. By the way, very common. People who get stabbed, it feels to them like a punch. They don't know that they've been stabbed. When other students followed Karmelo Anthony, why would they have to follow him? Because he was fleeing, and pointed him out to officers. He allegedly began pleading, he touched me first. He, not them, he. When officers took Anthony into custody, Anthony told them, I'm not alleged I did it. He touched me first without even being questioned. Anthony's defense attorney, Mike Howard, told the jury that a lot of the noise, the truth, surrounding the case has been completely false information. Like what? They don't say. He says Karmelo Anthony had a 3.7 GPA, was holding down 2 jobs, and he stabbed the dude in the heart.
Yeah, listen, they basically told us Karmelo was on his way to astronaut school before this happened. Like, if he hadn't stabbed Austin Metcalf, he would be in astronaut school right now. Karmelo would be a space cowboy if he hadn't caught this body, right? But the stupid racist Justice Department, the white man's racist court, they can't understand what black self-defense look like. stupid white man's court. They don't know they don't know that black self-defense doesn't look like white self-defense, all right? There's an entirely different nature to melanated self-defense that the white man's court just can't account for. White justice doesn't know what black self-defense really look like, all right? Can we all just acknowledge that the white man can't really fathom what black self-defense really means? Like, if you look at me, if you step on my Nikes, right? If you step on my fresh Nikes, I have to shoot you. If you bump my shoulder in a crowded sidewalk, I have to shoot you. If you try to sell my girlfriend some weed at the gas station, I have to shoot you, all right? That just happened like a year ago too, by the way. True story. It was all caught on camera. Dude was trying to sell some weed to some girl at the gas station. Her boyfriend got out the car like, what you say to my baby mama? And just pulled out. He drew down and shot him right there. But these are he was defending himself, all right? That's how you defend yourself, because that's black. These are the rules. I don't make the rules. I just talk about them on YouTube.
Everybody in that tent is a teammate and a friend of Austin and Hunter Metcalf, okay? But if Karmelo Anthony thought that was a hostile environment, why would he go there and refuse to leave? Hunter and Austin noticed Melo, that's what they're calling him, the defense team, Melo, and tell him to leave. Melo is 5'8", 130 pounds. Hunter and Austin were 6'1", 215 pounds. But if you feel threatened, why don't you leave? They're asking you to leave. They want you to leave. They're not blocking you from leaving. You're going to hear differing accounts of what was said. He says witnesses will tell.
He didn't feel threatened enough to leave because he knew he had an equalizer on him. He knew he had a force multiplier with him. So Austin could be 400 pounds, but nobody's bigger than a knife. All right? None of you bodybuilding, weightlifting niggas are bigger than a knife, all right?
Testify that Melo said, as long as you don't touch me, we're cool. Well, that's rather different than touch me and see what happens, isn't it? And then why doesn't he leave? Austin Metcalf makes the first physical contact. In spite of the warning, touch me and find out. Oh, now it sounds different. Now it's touch me and find out. Or whatever was said. Well, it matters, whatever was said. And just because you tell someone, touch me and find out, and they touch you, doesn't mean you get to stab them in the heart. In that split second, Melo had to make a decision how and when to act.
That's what he wanted him to find out. That's why it's actually a full-on murder and not anything like manslaughter or reckless death or whatever that legal thing is, negligent homicide or some shit like that. Like, it's actual murder because he knew he was going to stab him. He wanted him to find out, I have a knife. It's pointy. Here, feel it. Like, he wanted that. And now, like, you got what you wanted.
To react to a touch? So he reacts in a split second of fear and chaos. What chaos? What chaos that he's not creating? He immediately says, I was defending myself. Maybe. This one, jurors are about to watch the original unadulterated video before they watch the enhanced version. The video shows a wide shot of about half of the outdoor high school stadium from the middle of the football field to the parking lots. You can see tents in the top right corner. On the other side of the field that were put up in the lower bleachers, prosecutors have zoomed in where Karmelo Anthony enters the stadium in a gray sweatsuit near the Memorial High School tent that about 15 students are sitting in and standing under. Now they've watched the first 5 minutes of the surveillance video of the scene before the stabbing. Students gathered under a yellow canvas with the memorial, the Austin Metcalf High School logo. Just after 10 a.m., there's some pushing among individuals under the back of the tent, but it's difficult to tell what's happened. The camera is too far for the original video to determine. Suddenly, after...
See, look, again, the camera that we have, the video that we have, it wasn't like, some director's cut. This isn't the Snyder version of the Austin Metcalf stabbing. It's a grainy video from probably 100 or 50 yards away. They brought this camera back in 2014. Don't expect it to show, you know, blow for blow everything that went down.
After some pushing, all of those under the tent scatter quickly. Austin Metcalf has been stabbed to death. The video then shows Karmelo Anthony running out of the stadium less than a minute after the stabbing and into the school parking lot where he would be arrested. Video from another camera shows Karmelo Anthony wearing a gray sweatsuit being chased while running near the edge of the stadium and is putting his hands up in the air before two uniformed police handcuff him and take him away. The jury's about to see an enhanced version of the video. So they just finished now watching the enhanced version of the video. But so far, these new magnified videos, which have never been viewed by the public, still do not produce a clear visual of what happened under the tent. You can tell there was pushing, but it's mostly obscured. Karmelo Anthony's defense attorney, Toby Shook, another defense attorney, is...
Now, mind you, the video that we have by everyone who was actually in there watching, all the official people, not that fat nigga that, you know, was, you know, talking whatever story he was talking, but all the official accounts tell us that the video that we have, it was grainy and relatively inconclusive. So if you hear anybody making up all these scenarios, he was jumped by 5 people. I heard the twins were dancing on his chest and he had to crawl away and get a knife. If you hear any of these stories elaborating on the complexities of a struggle, and that's why Karmelo did what he did, just know that they're full of shit. The video that we had that would have showed us the exact blow-by-blow, it's grainy. It can't tell you anything.
After the stabbing and into the school parking lot where he would be arrested. Video from another camera shows Karmelo Anthony wearing a gray sweatsuit being chased while running near the edge of the stadium and is putting his hands up in the air before two uniformed police handcuff him and take him away. The jury's about to see an enhanced version of the video. So they just finished now watching the enhanced version of the video. But so far, these new magnified videos, which have never been viewed by the public, still do not produce a clear visual of what happened under the tent. You can tell there was pushing, but it's mostly obscured. Karmelo Anthony's defense attorney, Toby Shook, another defense attorney, is cross-examining the video analysis expert.
Wait, you can tell there was pushing, but it was mostly obscured. So right now, the best take that we can get right now appears to be the witness testimony from the people on the stand that all basically agreed that Austin was not the aggressor, that Karmelo appeared to be the aggressor, that Austin was not provoking a fight, that it seemed like Karmelo was the one who wanted to fight. Everything that we're really getting now from all the witnesses paint Karmelo in a very bad light right now. I'm just saying, the boy doesn't look like he's going home. Unless there's like a miracle in that jury deliberation room, that boy ain't going home. I'm trying to tell you, the boy looked cooked. All right, the boy looks cooked. I don't think this is a good situation for Austin to be in. Hearing everything right now looks bad for him.
Who magnified security camera. I guess they're doing the pinch and zoom thing from the Rittenhouse case. Defense attorney says, you really can't tell what people are doing under the tent, can you? No, there's really no way to determine when an argument starts or stops, is there? Well, you can tell movement, obviously. Everyone's saying they can identify movement. Maybe not who's doing what. But if there's no movement, there's no 4-on-1 beatdown. If there's no movement, there's no sustained beating that would justify deadly defensive force.
So there's no group beatdown. I think that's the most significant thing that we can take away from what little video that we could get. The video doesn't show anything that looks like a group beatdown. And that's very important because now it has to get into like state of mind. Did you legitimately fear for your life?
Prosecutors are showing the jury body-worn cameras from responding officers. For the first time, the jury hears the defendant speak. 4-minute body cam was played. Officer encounters Anthony, handcuffs him, sits him down before going through his pockets. You hear Anthony sounding like he's sobbing and crying. Yeah, he's just killed someone, and he knows he has no justification for it. As the officer walks him to his car, I told him not to put his hands on me. He's then put into a patrol car, gives officer his name and spelling. Another officer's body cam records Anthony saying after the officer radios that he has the alleged suspect, I'm not alleged, I did it. Okay, that's all been played for the jury now. It's not just words on paper in a police report. Under cross-examination, Anthony's defense attorney asked the officer, do you remember Karmelo crying once you and the other officer in the squad car? The officer said, did I see tears coming down the face? I can't testify to that because I didn't see his face. My description was based on the tone of his voice. Defense attorneys did get the officer to admit on the stand that Anthony surrendered peacefully and complied with the officers once they ran up to him. He didn't turn himself into police. They had to go get him. He didn't go to them. And complied with officers' commands. There was no resisting. There was no.
Now, that's another thing, too. And initially, a lot of conversation was had about, he went right to the police. He wasn't trying to hide. He went straight to, the authorities, as if that's what Black folks do, right? We just run straight to the authorities in moments of danger. And apparently that's not what happened. I guess he tried to blend into the crowd. He tried to Jason Bourne his way out of this shit.
No struggle. There was no continuing to run. That's the defense attorney asking that question. There was no continuing to run. No. But that means there was running. That means there was running. And by the way, not resisting, not struggling, that's how you keep yourself off the montage. You know what I mean by the montage? You're all familiar with this? The body-worn camera montage. If you follow this kind of content, you ought to be.
Some of my favorite content. All right, look at these niggas on body cam. I want y'all to know I am building a team. All right, we're going to call it the Dark Avengers.
All right, let's catch up with J.D. Miles now. Let me refresh this. I believe J.D. Miles is still reporting from the courtroom. J.D. Miles, jurors are getting their first look at the knife that prosecutors say Karmelo Anthony used to kill Austin Metcalf. It is a 5-inch folding knife. Oh, I guess it wasn't this, huh? It wasn't this bullshit we were supposed to believe? These contemptible liars. It's a 5-inch folding knife that had blood on it when it was photographed at the scene on the ground in the bleed.
Now, if you've ever seen one of these displays at the gas station or maybe a hardware store, they have these little cheap knives, usually for between 25 and 40 bucks. There'll be a knife where it's not a switchblade where you press the button and the blade pops out, because having that little mechanism is somehow illegal. But these knives are made where you can kind of just flick a little knob on the back of the blade and it'll open itself up out of the folding compartment, and you're ready to go now. These knives are everywhere. These knives are easily available. You don't really need a license to buy it or anything like that. And apparently he had one of those basic knives that everybody kind of has.
Bleachers of the stadium. The jury's also seeing photos of Karmelo Anthony's backpack, which was near the knife at the scene and had been opened. Prosecutors have now introduced the knife into evidence and the backpack. And here, jurors are now watching an extremely graphic body cam video that shows paramedics applying CPR to try and save Austin Metcalf's life while you can hear students wailing and screaming inside the stadium from a distance. Folks, if you've never seen these kind of knife injuries, even from the kind of folding pocket knife I carry around in my pocket to open packages and stuff.
So look, even Bronca has one. Everybody has one. I need another one. I've been meaning to grab one because if you have one for long enough, eventually the screws will loosen, the little clip will start to loosen, it'll fall out. You can't clip it to your pocket no more. You just got to hold it in your pocket now. So I need a new one. I don't
know if I'm allowed to show that on YouTube. They cause horrific injuries. In the Apple River.
Not only are they good knives, they're just great for hand-to-hand melee combat, because a lot of times they'll have that little point at the bottom that's for cracking a car window open in some type of emergency, I just know that'll crack the hell out of somebody's skull. Like, they're just all around great hand weapons.
Stabbing case, Nikolai Mew. He was just holding his little folding knife in front of him when he was attacked by one of the aggressors. Basically, the attacker threw himself on the knife. And that little pocket knife blade he had, opened that.
Did you just say the attacker threw himself on the knife? So that's really a thing. People be out here falling on knives and shit. I had no idea you could really fall on my knife. That's crazy. I didn't know that was a thing people really did.
Knife in front of him when he was attacked by one of the aggressors. Basically, the attacker threw himself on the knife. And that little pocket knife blade he had opened that guy up from hip to nipple. I mean, his guts spilled into the river. A little tiny knife like that. So when you're imagining Austin Metcalf, given the witness statements I've heard, I would suggest don't think of it like a little puncture. This will be a gaping wound. You can look inside his chest and see his heart. That's why he's saying it's extremely graphic.
Yeah, because when you get stabbed in the chest, if it hits your lungs, start making that sucking noise every time you try to breathe. Knife wounds are horrible. Like, some people would rather get shot than be stabbed. Like, I've heard that sentiment many times in my life. You would rather be shot than be stabbed. There's just something a little bit more painful about a deep stabbing.
Body-worn camera video. Well, you can hear students wailing and screaming. Inside the courtroom, Austin Metcalf's mother and father each have other family members wrapping their arms around them, and they broke down in tears while watching it. Can you imagine? Karmelo Anthony is watching the video intently.
And by the way, we got over 300 people in the audience today. There's a lot of people in here. Thank y'all so much for coming out. Like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you support the show. Catch us over at Venmo. The address is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Please support the show. Can't do it without you people.
I need that money. Give me the money. Give me the money for I will do it. Give me the money.
Along with the jurors, the video captures the chaos and uncertainty about what happened and why. No, it's not capturing that. This is the chaos of what happened after the stabbing, right? Don't suggest that there was chaos before the knife was shoved in to the heart of Austin Metcalf.
Man, stabbed him right in the heart. This is terrible. That boy is cooked. And listen, black folk, whatever you do, don't try to riot for this one, all right? America is not really in the mood of tolerating another national Negro chimp out. You shot your load with Floyd, all right? This is why we have black fatigue and all that shit, because people are getting sick of niggas and their unruly unreasonableness. You know, the unreasonable nigga is the main cause of national black fatigue.
There was some racial incident. Is a white guy. Let's say the roles were exactly reversed. To go to some trite racial political nonsense, but stabbed and there was some racial incident, is a white guy. Let's say the roles were exactly reversed, not to go to some trite racial political nonsense, but I guess it's illustrative here. If the roles were reversed in this situation, you seriously believe that the police would not have acted any differently?
I seriously believe in this counterfactual hypothetical.
A very simple one that you brought up. Yeah.
If the complainant, agreed. These are all. I'm saying these. All of them are. I'm not taking a high ground here. I'm just stipulating the same thing you are. If the complainant is a white guy and the person in handcuffs bleeding out is black, there's a whole history in the United States and in the UK of this happening. Or Sikh in this case. Sikh in this case in the UK. Yes, I'm accepting the terms of your hypothetical. I'm saying yes. I don't believe the police operate any differently. It's not because
I got a bridge in London to sell you, Mark. I got a bridge in London to sell you. Ridiculous.
That's great. But allow me to tell you the reason why, since you asked me. The reason is because I think that we have a problem with policing. I think we don't do thorough investigations. I think police are too reactionary. I think whether the person is black, white, red, or yellow, we don't respond properly. That's not to say that all races get treated the same, but I think there's a fundamental problem here. But again, finally, there's no evidence that black people get treated better by police.
Let me bring in the
or brown people.
Let me bring in the others. Yeah, Jaha, you want to say something?
Well, Piers, I want to talk about double standards. I want to remind everyone what Henry's father said again. We do not
You know what? I think we might talk about that Rick Chow thing just a little bit here. Before we get out of here, I don't want to leave you guys too soon without covering a lot of other bases, because I think the Rick Chow thing is very interesting. And again, we were talking about black fatigue and how America is just kind of over a lot of black shit right now. America is not really trying to pay attention to niggas' problems for the most part, especially like with all the quote unquote chimping out and whatnot, and this idea that you have to constantly feel bad for black people and all that. America is actually getting over that shit. For better or worse, it's just the thing that's happening. And Asian Americans, they have their role to play in this in some ways. We were talking about this a minute ago, the idea that Asian people in general are just more, let's say, anti-black. They are more racist than white people. Now, I'm not necessarily gonna put that on Asian Americans per se. I'm really talking about Asians in Asia. Like there's a whole phenomenon of that, because Asians in America may very well be suffering from their own version of white fatigue, much like white America is suffering from black fatigue. Sorry. And like I said, Asians in Asia, however, they don't really get to experience American black fatigue in the same way. So that's what makes the Rick Chow thing really an interesting kind of case study of where we are in America. The idea that a young black boy can just be gunned down, and it hasn't been proven that he stole anything. Apparently, from what I know, he picked up some water bottles, he put them down, and he ran away. They chased him for whatever reason. They shot him. And it's not that the police didn't prosecute. He was prosecuted. He went to trial, and he was judged by a jury, and they found him not guilty. They said, you know what? The little nigga deserved it. And so, you know what? I think that's a great soliloquy to get us into a discussion about race in America.
A race war will never happen. A civil war will never happen. A revolution will likely never happen.
But folks, in my opinion, the revolution has begun.
This is a deadline for this revolution shit. The cancer of capitalism metastasized and shit.
We're not doing electoral politics to change this shit, guys. Like, it's do or die right now. Like, we're gonna fucking die.
Truly, I see these things talked about all the time. Now, race war is a term that's thrown around a lot right now, especially by black people.
Because they want a race war. They want black people to throw the first punch.
They are trying to start a race riot before the midterm election.
Mostly people are just talking about highly politicized, prominent, racially charged criminal cases.
We kill crackers. Only good cracker is a dead cracker. Only good cracker is a dead cracker.
Austin making pizza for the devil, man. Austin making pizza for the devil.
And you might be some idiot and you're thinking, why does race matter? Well, it's mattered to everybody for all time. Their heritage and their identity is defined by race and racial characteristics and shared history. It doesn't matter to you because you've been indoctrinated through every year of your grade schooling to believe that race isn't real, doesn't matter, or that you should be ashamed of who you are.
The whole black community. Ain't no way y'all should be going to any Asian store spending any type of money with.
I'm deterring every black person from this door that I can.
And we need somebody to go get back. I be feeling like the YN should do it. Hear me out.
I'm gonna go ahead and blow you out your fucking socks. And
you need to stay out of their nail salons.
Stop supporting anything that's not black.
I ain't gonna lie, gang. Y'all need to find out who them jurors was for that.
Even infants identify race and have racial preferences for their own people. Brain scans of even the most anti-racist people show that they identify race. In fact, usually they identify race more than so-called racist people. Public polling in sociology and political science shows that people identify with their own race. Well, except for white people. White people rank everybody basically equally. Every other race loves their own people the most and dislikes other groups of people. The reason I think a civil war...
Shout out to the white man for hating everybody equally. The white man is apparently the only race that hates everybody equally. The racists, the Asians, they have a scale. The Asians actually love white people, by the way. It's ironic. Well, everybody else, they have a ranking system. The white man's like, you're all not white. It's whatever.
Or race war or revolution won't happen is primarily because people are so docile and the surveillance state is pretty sophisticated. And I also think that it just isn't in the interests of the state to let something like that happen. They want to maintain the status quo. They can allow some limited hangouts and some type of edge. People can have political disagreements. People can have racial discussions. People can get angry and go protest, but the system can't let it get out of hand. Racial identity has been a nonstop factor in American politics for time immemorial, despite all the idiots who claim that the 1980s and 1990s were some type of age of racial unity. That couldn't be further from the truth. It just really wasn't broadcast on the news and on the radio. And if it was, you didn't pay attention because you were a little kid. There were plenty of cases of black crime. The Community Relations Service might have censored them in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but there was still a lot of racial division and racial hatred. A lot of people talk shit online, and that's really all it is. It's empty venting. They're just feeling some type of way.
It's mostly black people, ironically. Black folk online want to fight a race war with not only the white man, but also with the Asians. Do you really want the whites and the Asians to team up against your black ass? Like, is that really the move you want to make? When ironically, the black man's best ally in racial conflict is actually white people. Technically, all the other races either generally don't like black folk or they want your number 2 minority status in America, right? Whether it's the Arabs, the Latinos, the Asians, they all would rather be number 2, all right? We really are Afro samurai in a lot of ways. We're walking around America just number 1 headband. The number 2 headband. Everybody else wants to take our shit, but we still hanging in there. We're still swinging. But when you got that number 2 headband, just remember, everybody who wants to be number 1 have to take you down first, right? And so, do you really want everybody else teaming up against you? Like, no. How about maybe the guy with the number 1 headband and the number 2 headband? What if we get together and hold everybody back? But nah, niggas, those are like white people thinking, and niggas not ready for that type of shit.
Now, obviously, some people do get angry enough to go and commit crimes. These politically motivated acts of terror do happen, for sure. But even people who are prone to violence, some of those who are most prone to violence, according to our crime rates, still aren't going to carry out sophisticated, sustained violence at a level that really would do much and couldn't easily be stopped by law enforcement and the military. When I see people making 10-minute long extemporaneous polysyllabic rants like this guy who's in his car, probably on break, I just shrug it off. Talking about impending race wars and apocalypse and...
Yeah, you hear that? When you niggas get online talking about race war because Karmelo Anthony or Rick Chow or yada, 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 the average white guy's like, oh, you goofy niggas. A lot of white folk really don't care. They ain't paying you niggas no mind. But at the same time, I do think it's funny that black folk want to fight some type of race war against the Asians. And you know what? This is not the first time the black versus yellow race war has popped up. Don't you remember back when there was the Stop Asian Hate campaign? Well, leading up to the Stop Asian Hate campaign were a lot of high-profile incidents of black people attacking Asian people. A lot of it was out on the West Coast, San Francisco, whatever. But that was the prelude to the anti-Asian hate bill. To the Asian hate bill or whatever, hate crime bill.
Blacks on Twitter are being really racist against Asians. I see this on TikTok even, and it's all over the comments. Now, they either claim through guilt that Asians want to be white, which isn't the case. I don't think white people want Asians to be white. I don't think Asians want to be white people. But, this is obviously just an insult because, like, black people really hate white people too. But, it makes sense, right? Because the Stop Asian Hate movement started because blacks were committing a lot of crime against Asians. They just commit a lot of crime in general, but they were victimizing Asians, and then there were a lot of prominent cases of that. And then, of course, the media tried to spin it as if it was somehow white people's fault or some shit. But when any other race kills a black person, no matter the circumstance, that person, that entire race is evil, and it needs to be a national outrage incident. I've seen some really creative slurs and hate speeches by black people against Asians in the last 3 days. Look, I don't really care about the Rick Chow shit. not going to lie to you, I have a lot of stuff going on in my real life. And I know social media is kind of like my business now, but come on, man. Like, I'm fucking white. I see Asians responding on video and they're like, yeah, you can boycott our businesses. We don't want anything to do with you if you're going to fucking be violent like that anyways. Liberals and leftists constantly believe that racism is some creation.
You really did the I'm fucking white. Like, I can't be bothered with you non-white beefs over there. Like, come on, I really can't care about this shit.
White people. It only comes from white people, and they ignore racism that is readily observable online and in person from every other group. If I didn't know any better, I would think that black people truly hate Asians as much, if not more, than they hate white people. They hate white people because they're told that white people like enslaved them and shit and like ate them. You know, they actually believe that white people ate them and turned them into liquid melanin and shit. They're fucking like,
we was delectable and shit. Don't you know? Didn't you guys know that we were delectable?
Like, seriously brutal. They're saying Asians are bug people and they don't have fucking souls. They don't.
I resent that. All right. Bug people, calling Asians bug men is a white man slur against Asia. That is white people attacking the Asian way of life. All right. And I'm not opposed to that. I'm just saying black folk did not create the term bug people. That is some white people shit.
Don't have an identity or any consciousness, that they're like robots, they're like an AI. If you can't realize that racial identity and racial politics exist in every group, I don't know what to tell you. But anyways, I'm sorry, Asians, that you're getting hated on so much.
Yeah, we have amazing levels of hatred right now coming from Black America against the Asians because of this Rick Chow thing.
Calling to hurt and attack Asians over the Rick Chow Cyrus Belton case. Black people are openly calling to hurt and attack Asians over the Rick Chow Cyrus Belton case. They're shamelessly lying that Asians are targeting them when crime data shows the opposite and everyone knows it to be true. What a fucking pathetic race of people. You know, Pakistanis, I was so surprised by them. So there was this case in Pakistan where a French woman was gang raped in front of her children by these disgusting Pakistani men. And the Pakistani community was so outraged by this. They demanded the death penalty and swift prosecution. Like, they were on it. They were outraged by this. But in the Black community, when you have a fucking stupid criminal, what was it? Was this a 14-year-old with a gun? That's what I'm hearing. A 14-year-old fucking criminal with a gun, a degenerate, provokes an honest business owner and then gets shot because of it. No one gives a fuck. But then,
you know what, Freeman's Journal, I think this can't really be fathomed properly by the Black American, well, the pro-Black mind. Like a lot of these channels on YouTube where they talk about race and the white man all the time, they really don't understand how much more the global brown population hates them than the white man does. Whatever you think the white man is guilty of, wait till the global brown niggas outnumber you in your own neighborhood. The global brown population really hates niggas the most. I'm telling you, that's probably the one thing from keeping slavery from coming back in full force is white people.
And you guys want to make yourselves victims? It's like those Pakistani grooming gangs. Pakistanis have no right to make themselves victims, but y'all, your race, the Black people, when your people are criminals and they have to get their consequences, y'all make them victims and y'all all then victimize the victims of your criminals. It's crazy. I've never seen that level of retardation, but it's why y'all have for 100 years the same low IQ of 60 to 80. Y'all haven't increased your IQ, and that's technically retarded. And they had to lower the standard of what's retarded to accommodate y'all and your feelings. But that's the reality. We're stuck in society with a bunch of retards. So I think it's time we just, take a societal impetus to put IQ tests on society. And if you don't have a high IQ, you're a danger to society. And we have to create a civil, safe society by removing low IQ dangers.
Wouldn't it be crazy that as America gets more brown, it starts to implement old school Jim Crow? Like, wait till the Indians take over. They're going to Jim Crow the fuck out of niggas. Watch.
This makes Jim Crow look like Jim Eagle.
What if I told you that the judge had crucial evidence that puts a totally different complexion on this? What if I told you in 2013 a similar situation happened at the store? What if I told you in 2013 Mr. Chow said someone tried to steal a beer out of his store, so he had to shoot at him? What if I told you in 2015 that Mr. Chow fired 6 shots into a car as it was driving away because somebody in the car stole a beer? Yeah, he didn't call the cops. He just shot in the car. No arrest. Then in 2018, Mr. Chow did the same.
Whatever you do, don't fuck with Mr. Chow, all right? I don't know why you niggas didn't get the message. This is why you be having to shoot a nigga. Because no matter how many times you show a nigga, like, they just keep going. Look at Chud the Builder. Like, the Chud the Builder thing is like, from a psychological standpoint, it's utterly fascinating and it's almost depressing on a level. If I hadn't been accustomed to how retarded niggas was already, I might be sad. But think about how the Chud the Builder thing works out, right? Chud goes around with mace and a gun, intentionally provoking you to chimp out, right? He's like trying to reverse nigga bait you. Like, that's what the genius of Chud the Builder was, right? Chud the Builder was like, I'm going to go stare the nigga moment right in the face. And he made niggas blink because he had mace and he had a gun. And so the guy stalks Chud the Builder, knowing that he typically has mace and or a gun on him. This guy with no weapons basically wants to die. Niggas really be trying to die. And that's kind of why you be having to shoot niggas, because like you start to come to this sad, overwhelming conclusion that I don't know if it's a total like logical thought or if it's some type of subconscious impetus going on, but niggas really be trying to die. And it becomes like a game of chicken. It's like, if you don't kill me, I'm gonna kill you. Like niggas really be trying to die. And Mr. Chow is not trying to die. Like, that's really what's going on. I remember there was this great clip of, you remember Hassan Campbell, the nigga that got thawed by Africa Bombada? You guys know Hassan. Hassan Campbell went on to be like a famous internet tough guy. He had some outrageous clips, by the way. Hassan's clips are epic, right? Hassan had this one clip where he said, fuck it, let's you and me both shoot up at the police station. Let's you and me both meet up at the police station and bang out in front of the cops, nigga. Fuck it, let's both die. Like, that was really his pitch. He was like, let's meet up, let's both die. Fuck it. And it's like when you really think about it, niggas be trying to die. And it's like, this is what makes you not feel bad when shit happens, because it's like, you've been out in the world and long enough, you've encountered the unreasonable nigga enough times, you realize that there's just something somewhere deep in the Negro subconscious that compels niggas to death.
This time he shot somebody in the leg. Shot him in his leg over $6 worth of merchandise. So first he shoots and misses, then he shoots in the car, could have killed multiple people, and third he shoots somebody in the leg, and then we are here today in 2023. That's when this case.
You go down the block, all right? You go pull that shit off with them Indians. He told you niggas 3 different times, y'all. He told you 3 different times to stop messing around. And did you listen? No. What'd you do? You kept messing with you kept messing with Mr. Chow. You should have went down the block to the Indian gas station, all right? I think Indians are the last people that are afraid of niggas. The Asians aren't really afraid of you. They're just not going to challenge you head on if they can help it. You got to go try. You got to try that shit with Pajit and them. Mr. Chow was not having it.
This took place. In 2023, shot Cyrus. Cyrus fled, shot him in the back. And he was so afraid for his son's life, he shot a man in the back. I'm sorry. He shot a boy in the back. And that's considered justice. And for that, we have conservatives defending it.
Y'all owed us, Asian community. Y'all owed us big time, bro. That's y'all mans, bro. That's
after all of the black on Asian homicides, I think the Asians are just happy to get one back. Do you realize how many black on Asian homicides have happened in the last 4 years? They literally had to make a Stop Asian Hate Crime bill, but they were afraid to say who was committing all the violence against Asians. I think the Asians were looking at the scorecard and was like, you know what? It's time we put one on the board, all right? Can't let these niggas thinking shit's sweet.
That's y'all mans. Y'all seen the trial. Y'all seen what happened, man. He killed that 14-year-old boy in cold blood. Yeah. Yeah, y'all Asian comrade, whoever the fuck he is. Y'all got to take care of that business, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Y'all got to take care of that business, bro. Hey, listen,
Do black people take care of that business? Think about how hypocritical that is, right? As much as, you know, you have homicides or some young thug is out there committing home invasions and robberies and carjackings and people get killed, do black people take care of that business? Do black people police our own violent, criminal, antisocial people? No. No, we don't. But you expect Asians to do that. You expect white people to do that, which you know, obviously that's what the whole justice system is built on, right? Somehow, and this is why I can't ever side with the general black movement, because it's way too hypocritical. And then when you really think about it, like, niggas really don't have black unity. They have collective hatred for other people, but there's no internal black unity. Like, niggas will come together for the white man, but can't keep their families together, right? Like, that's the nature of the pro-black movement. You know, you can come together to tear some shit down, but you can't build a family and a family business, you know?
Preaching unity. I'm trying to bring us together for sure, bro. But one thing is for sure, man, this whole country, the world know that man killed that man in cold blood. And we all know why they let his killer off. We know why. Real talk. So it's like this, man. I'm sorry that it gotta come to this, but Asian community, y'all gotta handle y'all business, bro. So from this point on, hey, listen, this is some real shit. All the black community. The whole black community. Ain't no way y'all should be going to any Asian store, spending any type of money with them. No nail.
Not gonna lie, ever since the Asian boycott started a couple of days ago, I've been dying for some Chinese food chicken wings, y'all. I don't know what it is. You know how typically you go to like different restaurants and all of their food items will taste, you know, slightly different. Everybody has their own recipe. Like Mexicans are famous for this. Like, every Mexican restaurant like has their own particular flavor of like taco sauce or seasoning or whatever. They make their own salsa, some shit like that. If you go to a Chinese restaurant anywhere in the East Coast of America, all the chicken wings taste exactly the same. It's like a chain restaurant, right? Every Chinese restaurant, go buy fried chicken from a Chinese restaurant. They all have the exact same fried chicken recipe, and I will not give that up for none of you niggas. I will not give up Chinese fried chicken for none of you niggas. Not one. Not Ned nigga. I'm sorry. I am not boycotting Chinese fried chicken for nobody.
No tax, no hair stores, none of that, man. That's what I'm saying. You got to start standing for something, people. You got to stand for something. He just killed a 14-year-old boy in cold blood. Asian community. Take care of y'all business, man. Take care of y'all business.
I'm telling you, this boycott gonna be defeated by chicken wings and pork fried rice. Mark my words. You niggas don't know what you're up against, all right? You niggas are not gonna defeat chicken wings and pork fried rice. I don't know who told you niggas that you were that special, that somehow you could overcome the power of fried chicken and pork fried rice. Nigga, please. We are not about to give that shit up because of you.
Nigga, please.
Serious.
It's tragic. I feel sorry for the family. As I said during the my opening statement, my heart goes out to them, but 14-year-old kids should not be roaming the streets of Columbia or South Carolina with semi-automatic pistols loaded and ready to fire. Well, I think the difference was this. Andy Chow was following him out of the store and down the street. We always took the position that Rick Chow, the defendant, that was not his objective. His objective was he was going to protect his son, and that's what happened. So we tried to separate the two different issues. One from Andy Chow, who was following him down the street. There'll be a discharge issued, and we expect that he'll be released sometime tonight. It may be a couple of hours, but he'll be released tonight.
How was he feeling about the verdict?
Relieved. I mean, this has been an ordeal for the family, both families. I mean, there's no joy about the suffering of the other family, but Mr. Chow and his family, and we've had a lot of contact with him and his wife and his two boys, and they've suffered as well during the last couple of years. And it's been very traumatic to them, and they didn't know what the end result was going to be. They did not prevail at the stand your ground hearing, so that obviously added some additional pressure. But now he's free to go and do whatever he's going to do. They sold the gas station, so that's not the option anymore. My heart goes out to them. I know I can't imagine what they're going through or what they have been through, losing a son. I can't, as a parent myself, I cannot imagine any more pain, more difficult than that. So I feel for them. I really do, because they didn't do anything. They didn't bring on the suffering themselves. This was, something that their son put them into, and young people need to learn. You can't walk around the city carrying semi-automatic weapons, loaded.
Now, all jokes aside, in all honesty, I do think him having that weapon on him is the main reason why the jury acquitted Rick Chow in that situation. Black fatigue and all that can be woven into it, but ultimately, I think it's not a good shoot without that weapon, which I'm not saying it was a good shoot anyway. He probably did chase him down and shoot him in the back, so I'm not even going to stand with Rick Chow. It's not even that, but the fact that he had a gun on him does put an air of danger to a situation where it's like, hey, man, live by the gun, die by the gun. And Rick's the shooter, all right? That was a 14-year-old boy. He brought a gun to a gunfight against an actual shooter. Rick Chow is a shooter, and he shot because that's what he does. And that little boy had no idea, but this is why little boys ain't supposed to play with guns. I'm just saying, it was messed up all around.
I used to work for Rick Chow, and I'm ready to tell my story. No cap. So it's not funny at all, honestly. I don't know why I'm smiling. I'm smiling because I didn't.
She used to work for Rick Chow, the shooter. All right, Ricky Chow. That's what they call him down in Chinatown. They call him Ricky Chow.
Made this video 3 times, but where the fuck do I start? That was one of the worst experiences I've ever had in my life. Okay, so the first of all, my main training, my job training, what they needed me to get down packed was how to not get stole from. They barely gave a fuck about anything else.
Yes, your number one job is don't let niggas steal my shit. Now, you might feel some type of way about that. Being a nigga yourself, I understand you might feel some sympathy for your fellow niggas, but you work for me now, and your number one job is don't let these niggas steal my shit. Can you do that, Keisha? I'm trusting you, Keisha. All right, we're depending on you.
Training was don't have long conversations with the customers. They might steal. Watch the customers while they walking around the store, especially if they come in a group. They might steal. Shit like that. Rick used to micromanage the fuck out of me. He was always looking over my shoulder. I couldn't make a mistake and it fly. Every mistake came with like a 2-hour lecture. Mind you, he chose to own this store in the middle of the hood. I'm not even trying to be funny. The store, if you go look on Google Maps, it's in the middle of a whole bunch of apartment complexes, and he knew that, and he expressed that to me. Why did he express that to me? Because he wanted me to watch out for thieves, because he automatically assumed that these low-income Black people were going to steal from him. Not only that, if you did get caught stealing from him, he was going to screenshot the video footage, print it out, write what you stole on the printed out paper, and plaster it somewhere in the store. Right hand to God. I don't know why I didn't see that as a red flag when I clocked in. But so one day I clock in.
You know who else does that? Every bodega and Spanish grocery store in the city of New York. Go to any grocery store in like the hood in New York, and you're gonna see a picture of the greatest hits. Because you know, niggas be trying to steal Christmas hams and shit like that.
And I'm walking around the store to get me a snack. I go to his office to ask him, can he ring me up? This man already watching me from the cameras. And I don't mean the simple like he got the cameras up, but he doing some other shit. No, he got 2 monitors. He got his hand on the right mouse and he looking at the left computer. I can tell he's watching me. I'm the only person in the store. It wasn't even no customers. From that moment on, I could not work at the store by myself. I always had to have somebody on the register with me. If I was having a friendly conversation with the customer, he would get on my ass. He would pull me aside. Another 2-hour lecture. You can't be talking to the customers because they might take that as the opportunity to steal. Man, come on, bro. If you was that worried about getting stole from, why did you pick this store? And
See, Ricky know. Pretty Ricky Chow know how niggas is. See, the niggas are clever. They talk to you. They get friendly with you. They get your guard down. They distract you. And then they steal all your Snicker bars. Next thing you know, your whole row of Snicker bars is empty. And you're like, what happened? I was just talking. Yeah, because while you were talking, their hand was down where you couldn't see, and they took all your Snicker bars, and now you ain't got no candy.
in this area. Tell me that. And it's not like, oh, we in a beauty supply store or we in a convenience store. Motherfuckers stealing cup noodles and Bud Lights and fucking peanut M&Ms, nigga. Come on, bro. Write it off on your motherfucking taxes, bro. And killed that boy over.
This is how she thinks running a store works, right? You can steal all of my little cheap dollar items and just I'll write it off in taxes. You know, I'll somehow turn you stealing all of my Snickers bars and my hot cup of shrimp noodles. I'll turn that into donations to the poor. I'll somehow write off your stealing from me as charity. And think about the mindset. This is a Black America mindset, by the way. Let them steal because they're poor, and that makes it a type of charity.
Tell me that. And it's not like, oh, we in a beauty supply store or we in a convenience store. Motherfuckers stealing cup noodles and Bud Lights and fucking peanut M&Ms, nigga. Come on, bro. Write it off on your motherfucking taxes, bro. And killed that boy over a water bottle that he didn't even steal. He dropped it when they started chasing him. So it's legal to kill somebody over an attempt to steal?
Notice she said he didn't even steal. He dropped it when they started to chase him. That means he stole. Whether it's an attempt to steal, they are defending against theft. From their position, it doesn't matter.
That he didn't even steal. He dropped it when they started chasing him. So it's legal to kill somebody over an attempt to steal, and then you can't even be like, oh, that's Trump's America, because no, this shit that happened to so many goddamn people in this country way before Trump had a hold on anything. I won't say anything, but how the fuck is that right? I can't believe that man was found not guilty, bro. Like, especially after.
You know, I hear a lot of these black complaints about things. And, you know, as somebody who has at least tried to run a business before, I know for a fact a lot of people have no idea what it actually entails, you know, what it takes to be successful in business, you know, the things you have to do, the things you have to worry about, the people that are actually out to get you and how you have to guard against that kind of thing. A lot of black folk, because they've never been in real positions of power and or authority, they have no idea what it really means. And so they want what they want, but they don't know what it really costs.
Having my own experience with him and seeing how much they left out in court. I mean, I know some stuff ain't relevant, but boy, they would have called me as a character witness, which they wouldn't have known to, because he never paid me. I was never on his payroll. I worked at his gas station for a week and he never paid me. Like I said, he was micromanaging me, so I blew up on him in front of a bunch of customers, and he fired me in front of all of them customers.
Lucky Mr. Chow ain't shoot you, all right? I heard Mr. Chow is not afraid to shoot a nigga. You lucky you made it out of there alive. You know Chow would have shot you if you started acting up.
From the top of the pyramid is most racist to the bottom is at least or less racist. So first, what I would consider from the Chinese racism perspective is the real racism. Like they literally have this hate towards you, like they can murder you type of thing, will be the Japanese and the Americans, right? Because, you know, historically, Japan invaded China. So the CCP has been propagandizing that, brainwashing people to hate Japan. Americans, pretty similar stories, especially now with US versus China. So that's like the real racism I would consider to be like actually like they will want to act on certain levels to bring about like violence to you. Then there's the cultural racism or the competition racism, which is like towards countries like India, to Koreans, where there's a sort of a competition of cultures that they clash, whether, you know, that's with music, with arts, with movies, or just simply with like similar levels of civilizations, populations, you know, India and Korea are two of them. And then the third one is what I would call is like the skin color racism, like the more traditional way, like, oh, if you're darker colored, because dude, in China, like, the beauty standard is the whiter you are, the more beautiful you are, right? Like they literally don't like dark skin. Like if you're dark skinned, they think you're actually an alien, that type of thing. So there's like this superiority and skin color racism, which is like it happens to the Malaysians, to, you know, Africans, to Middle Easterns, right? Because like you want like
damn, if you think about this is mind blowing. As a group, the Chinese people are so racist, they don't even hate niggas the most. Niggas are like third on their list of races that they hate. That I'm telling you, that is a refined, pure form of racism. It's like they've condensed all this racism to a point. Like, think about that. The Chinese are so racist. Blacks are they're a third in the pyramid of other races of people we hate. Because the Chinese and the Japanese actually have long-running ethnic beef, going back not even into World War II and like, you know, all that tragedy. Literally going back, the word kamikaze itself means divine wind, because apparently the Japanese were saved from a Chinese invasion by like a hurricane or something like that. And so like they've been hating each other for a long time. And then under the Japanese are the Indians, which, as you know, as somebody who's talked a lot about India, I respect that one. I totally understand why the Indians are high up on your list, but the blacks and the Africans, they're down there at number 3. Like the Chinese hate you, but they don't even hate you as much as they hate other people.
Feel like you're superior because your skin is lighter. Okay, and then general racism is like at the bottom towards just other white people, because Chinese people are just racist in general to every other race, right? Now, this is not inherently like.
And then below the blacks, and shout out to China for putting the blacks above the whites. That is actually fascinating. That is actually fascinating. They put the blacks above the whites. which actually means they like white people more. They're least racist to white people, but they're racist to everybody in general. I'm telling you, the Asians have taken racism to another level. In the future, white people are going to go to Asia to study racism.
A bad thing in a sense, like every race has some level of racism because it comes from just how the world used to be. Like you never used to have interactions with another person from another culture or another race, or if you did, it was so similar to yours, like in terms of the skin color.
And you know what? We've been at this for a little while. Let me show this one last thing, and we're going to wrap this one up soon. This is the lawyer for Mr. Ricky Chow. Ricky Chow letter. He knew only person can save me from a little nigga is a bigger nigga. Ricky Chow knows. He been around you niggas long enough. He knew the only way to save me from a little nigga is to get a bigger nigga. And that's what Ricky Chow did. Shout out to Ricky Chow's black lawyer. Apparently, this nigga is a legal hero in his own right. There was another high-profile racial case that this man took over. I can't remember the name and the detail of it, but he didn't make his bones with Ricky Chow. He did not make his bones on Ricky Chow. He's been, a sharp attorney for a minute now. He is the go-to guy when you've pissed off the blacks, apparently, all right? But shout out to Ricky Chow. He knew, you know what? I shot a little nigga. Let me go get a bigger nigga to stand in front of me. Fucking Chinese IQ. I'm telling you, the Chinese are fucking clever. They are very smart. They have, the Chinese and the Japanese have some pretty, noticeably high IQs. I'm going to just put it like that. And look, yeah, he was smart enough to hire a nigga. What do you do with that type of, that level of 3D Chinese racism chess, all right? I'm going to shoot a little nigga, and I'm going to give a big nigga all my money so I can get out of jail. Let's just roll that one around in your mind for a minute, all right? I'm going to go shoot a little nigga, and then I'm going to spend all my money on a bigger nigga, and he going to keep me out or get me out of jail.
How do it equivalent?
If you think I'm here to play around with y'all, goddamn on that. All right.
I heard that's how Ricky Chow lawyer walked in the courtroom. That's exactly how Ricky Chow lawyer walked in the courtroom. Said that little nigga had to go. He did. He went in there. He was like Dr. Umar. Some of these niggas gonna have to get put down for good. I'm telling you, he went in there like Umar Johnson. Ricky Chow was like, I'm going home.
Today's bittersweet day at Kent Law Firm. Next to Jack, Alicia has interned with us longer than any other person who has ever worked here. 5 years. When she first started, she could not speak the English language, and I begged Debbie to fire her because when she answered the phone, she sounded like a Muppet. 2, if you could zoom in, come here, little summer. This is how she looked. Like an emu.
Oh, and he makes fun of black women in public. Oh, this is my new black hero. This nigga is my spirit animal. This nigga is a whole new type of nigga. Just like in Django, here's that one nigga in 10,000. He's Django. This is the 2026 Django. Holy shit. He is that one nigga in 10,000. This is amazing work. Called that bitch an emu. And she got to stand there and find it funny. God damn. This is my nigga. This is Django. He's that exceptional nigga. I swear to God. Ricky Chow went and found him that one nigga in 10,000. He got him that exceptional Negro. Oh my God. This is crazy work. This is crazy work. Real life is so much better than fiction. You could not write this. None of the gays and weirdos in Hollywood, they could not have come up with this. They could not have written this better. This is a nigga straight out of the comic books, bro. This is Ricky Chow, a genius, bro. Ricky Chow, a genius, bro. This is how to shoot a nigga and get away with it in 3 easy steps, bro. My nigga is crazy. He is really an exceptional nigga.
Today's a bittersweet day at Kent Law Firm. Next to Jack, Alicia has interned with us longer than any other person who has ever worked here. 5 years. When she first started, she could not speak the English language, and I begged to fire her because when she answered the phone, she sounded like a Muppet. 2, if you could zoom in, come here, little summer. This is how she looked. Like an emu. She has been called everything from my daughter to an emu to Blackbird, and I will wholeheartedly say that any human I've been around, Alicia is the sweetest person that I've ever had. Yes. Today's a bittersweet day at Kent Law Firm. Next to Jack, Alicia has.
But shout out to Ricky Child's lawyer, the exceptional Negro. It's been a rough week for Black America. I got to tell you, it's been a pretty rough week for Black America. Between the Ricky Child case and Carmelo Anthony getting cooked in court, Black folk are going to have to find a new way to make it in America. You know, Trump's getting rid of your DEI programs. Black women most affected. It's Black America, you're going to have to come up with a new way to make it in this country, all right? You got all these Mexicans and all these other brown people coming in, changing the racial landscape. And frankly, in closing, I would just say that I think Black America has, they've pushed it to the limit. We've maxed out our white guilt credit card, and we have no guilt built with any of the other non-white people out there, right? There's no Mexican guilt. There's no Indian, South Asian guilt. There's no Chinese guilt. There's no Japanese guilt. And frankly, white Americans in particular are the ones who really hold the guilt. I mean, maybe some Europeans, because Europe is woke and cucked in a lot of places at this point. Like, there's no real Russian guilt. There's no Polish guilt. You know, none of the Slavic nations, you know, shout out to my Slavs, the OG slave people, right? None of them have guilt, all right? They've been doing shit to each other so long that they don't feel bad for anybody. So, like, Black America, we're going to have to learn to cope without white guilt going forward. And as the white guilt starts to, like, fade from the national popular psyche, you're going to see some things that make it hard to smile. That's why you got to tune into this channel, because if you don't learn to laugh, you're just going to cry like a little bitch. And that's not going to help. That's not going to help nobody, all right? So this is why you got to tune in, like, share, and subscribe, learn to laugh, stop feeling like a little loser and a sucker. You know, I used to think life was a tragedy, and then I realized it was comedy. And now I'm always smiling. But good luck and Godspeed to everybody out there. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. And support the show. Hit me up on Venmo at The Hoodservative. But I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank y'all so much for coming out.
Good afternoon, boys and girls. Shut the fuck up.
Hey, not nice.
No, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
You need to leave? No, bitch.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white.
Aspiring to be patriarchs like what white men have, that isn't freedom. That isn't going to help anybody. It's certainly not going to help Black people.
Fuck you. War.
Make it stop. Make the hurt stop, please. Like,
you teach me all my life that the white man is the devil?
What the hell is that? Come on,
You teach me my whole life that the white man is the devil. Now you tell me it's all right for him to come among us.
There's no fixing this. This can't be fixed. Right? This can't be fixed. You just have to escape. So that's what I did. I went to a neighborhood where, you know, I have a very low Black population.
It's done.
It's done. It's done. It's done.